Out of adversity. It all started one Friday morning. I was at home processing the photos from the latest shoot when the phone rang. It's the hospital. Oh, your test results are in, Mr. Hearn. We've arranged for you to come and see the consultant at 1 o'clock. It was 11:15. I said, well, I can't. I've got a business meeting. No, you don't understand. Go to hospital. Okay. So when I put the phone down, I realised what he'd actually said. The test was a biopsy on a small lump I'd found in my neck. And that degree of urgency said one thing and one thing only. I've just been diagnosed with cancer. That moment, I understood the meaning of pure, naked fear, and then went into mental meltdown. The next night, middle of the night, I woke up sweating. I'd been dreaming I'd been at my own wake. Welcome to the games that cancer diagnosis plays with your head. Now, once you're diagnosed, things happen very quickly. In for tests, scans, more tests, into hospital for an operation to remove the primary tumour, which the scan had showed was on the back of my tongue. And then after that, it's on to the rest of the treatment, full of surprises. Before I could start, I had to have a number of teeth pulled out. And then I went into chemotherapy. Now, it wasn't just 3 or 4 hours and then back home. I had 5 days of 24/7 chemo, 11 days off, 5 days of 24/7 chemo, 11 days off. This stuff wipes you out, believe me. Plus, everything tastes metallic. Straight after that, it's into radiotherapy. And because it's on the head and neck, I needed to have a face mask made. And it started with plaster of Paris. This is what the face mask looks like. This is the treatment close up. You can see that the mask is screwed down to the table. That's because they have to be millimetre accurate every day when I'm going in, because this treatment is every day for 6 weeks. You can see the areas of the mask that are cut away. That's where I'm being radiated. There's 11 of them. As I say, every day for 6 weeks, and the side effects for me kicked in at the end of the first week. First, I couldn't break down the food, so I lost the ability to eat. Then, I couldn't taste anything. Next, because I'm now drinking water all the time because my mouth is so dry, I can't sleep. So, you can't sleep, can't eat, you get weak, you lose weight. I lost 2.5 stone in 6 weeks. Now, all the way through that, you get some interesting moments because I'm still going through blood tests and scans and God knows what else. You get to wear some wacky uniform. It's not much fun, the treatment, but the occasional bits of humour are absolutely vital to how you feel. It's extraordinary. 5 weeks in, I hit my rock bottom because I was going in for the second top-up chemo session, and I knew from the first one that the two together make you feel really awful. And when I walked into hospital, it didn't help. They said, Keith, you're anemic. We're going to give you a blood transfusion as well. I just went, what next? Now, about that time, I saw a little sign on the wall saying, fundraise for the Royal Marsden, go trekking. I'm doing it. I'm so doing it. Get yourself out of here first, mate. End of the treatment, I'm left alone for 6 weeks. Well, let the body calm down, and then you go back for the test to see if it's been successful. That's quite nerve-wracking. I got called in and said, you've got to have one more operation. We've got to remove the secondary tumour and all the lymph nodes in your neck. So I went in, 24 hours later, the surgeon came out and he said, 100% successful, you're cancer-free. I cannot begin to describe the sheer, utter relief. A week later, I went back to see him. Had to have his the stitches removed. Pretty neat piece of surgery. I had a question for him, which I wanted to ask at the beginning. Peter, what would have happened if I wouldn't have found the lump or wouldn't have done anything about it? He said, you've been back here within 3 to 4 months. The lump would be about the size of a golf ball on the back of your throat. You might have been coughing up blood. And, okay, and he didn't respond, he just looked at me. He didn't have to say a word. I knew then I wouldn't have survived if any of those things would have happened. Right, roll forward 18 months. I'm at Heathrow Airport with 30 others going trekking, going to raise some money for the Mars, and it's kind of my way of saying thank you for saving my life, guys. And we're off to Iceland. That's an extraordinary place to fly over. It looks a bit like I would imagine the moon. Looks like it's kind of black, and there's nothing there. There's no trees. It's weird. But we had a quick pep talk one evening, and then we're off. A little uphill journey to start with. I thought, yeah, I know a thing or two about these now, uphill journeys. I'm just going to flip through, give you some examples of what the scenery is like in this place, because it's an extraordinary country. not a bad campsite for somewhere to stay. It's quite cold, even though it's August. But we're going through this. You can see how black the scenery is, and all kinds of weird and wonderful scenery. And then wake up to this. This is the day that we're going 10 hours, and it's lashing it down. Strong winds. It's cold. We're going straight off the top of the picture to the snowfields. An hour and a half later, it's now down to 0. But look at the water coming out of the rock. It's boiling. Straight out of the rock. It's an extraordinary place. This is the last photo I took this day because the conditions got so bad. It was about -5, -6, and the wind was gusting 120 km. 2 of the people were taken off at lunchtime to be treated for hypothermia. That evening, the atmosphere in the camp was unbelievable. The next day, we'd only been going for 20 minutes and we've got a small challenge to overcome. This is milk water. It is numbingly cold. The guy on the right is a mountaineer. And he said, right, this is how you've got to cross it. Your grip has got to be strong enough so if the person you're holding on to slips, they don't go under. Oh, by the way, undo your rucksack straps. Because if you do slip and you do go under, if you can't get rid of your rucksack, you're not coming back. Okay. So, anyway, things move on and just move on through some absolutely stunning scenery. This place is, I mean, I'm a fanatic about natural scenery anyway, but this is just camping at the foot of a glacier, up the top, and now we're going down to the right towards the end of the trek. It's the biggest piece of wood I saw in the whole country. And then you come across something like that. And you just go, I just went, wow, what a privilege. How close did I come to not being able to see this at all? And then the trek's over at the end of another, bottom of another glacier. And that evening, before going home, we went out, had a night in the Tiles in Reykjavik. They have a reputation for nightlife. It's well deserved. So we wake up with a thick head the next day. So we go and have a face pack at the Blue Lagoon before we get on the plane. And then it's home the next day. And all of this, apart from photographing it all, I've been writing. I'm going to do a book. And I have to find a publisher. And from my initial inquiries, it was like, not another book about cancer. You're not famous. You've never written anything. There's no market. I'll do it myself. Don't tell me there's no market. 30% of the population are going to get this. Believe you me, there's nothing more traumatic than being told you've got cancer. So I went about self-publishing, and then I was introduced to somebody who ran his own publishing business with, had a niche in NLP. Now I'd worked with an NLP coach to keep me mentally together, and he said, send me a sample of your text. So I did. 24 hours later, I got my publisher. 4 days later, on the doormat, first copy of Bangers and Mash. I'll look at it and go, blimey, I'm an author. Oh, it's Bangers and Mash, by the way, because that's the first mouthful of solid food I tried after not being able to eat for 6 weeks. Got a little bit of local publicity. Got interviewed on Radio Jackie and local press. Not much. But then in 2010, a certain Michael Douglas went down with throat cancer. Things changed then. BBC Radio, Talk Radio Europe, a few others. And then the Daily Mail. Full page in the Daily Mail. This came out, and I thought, I'll just type Michael Douglas into Google. At the top of the page was a photo of me. I've got, yes, result. Being slightly vain, I kept checking that, and it's about 3 or 4 hours later before it went. But then the big one was, I was invited onto ITV's this morning to talk about it. And when you're going on to go on air, it's freaky, because you know there's 1.5 million people listening. Don't look at the camera. You know, and you start talking, the first sentence comes out, and then you get into it, and then they go, right, thank you very much. Next, you go, I've only just started. But the number of people that were listening got in touch, one of whom was a young lady who'd just been diagnosed with throat cancer and was in the same mental mess that I was at the beginning. We swapped messages. She bought the book, she read it, she got better, we kept in touch, and she said, Keith, I've got to say thank you very much for the book. It was hugely useful. Can you drop me a few lines? Just read that. Mike, come on. Okay. But when I got that, there's a number of other testimonials on Amazon, both .com and .co.uk. I felt two things. One was really humble, that my experience could be so helpful. And the other one was just satisfaction, really, that my experience, again, could be so helpful. And it so happened that 3 weeks after the book came out, I was going back for my 2-year all-clear checkup. And the consultant said, I knew when I walked in the room it wasn't going to be good news. He said, Keith, it's bad news, cancer's back. It's serious. I said, I wanted to ask, what do you mean it's serious? You mean last time was a joke? I didn't feel like it. I said, tell me what serious means. He said, your chance of survival is between 10 and 40%. Okay, that's serious. Well, a mate of mine who's a photographer as well said, if you're going through all that rubbish again, I'm photographing it as a project. So I've got my own Abbey Road shot. That's a chemo machine and that's my daughter. And then in bringing right up to date, in October, I went for my latest checkup and they said the results are as good as they could possibly be, which means I don't get scanned till next October and I go for a small checkup in April. But I thought, right, time to get the second book going, time to think about another fundraising trek for the marathon. If they saved me once and I raised £7,000 in Iceland, let's see if we can beat that. So I'm going to Nepal in November for them. And it's a Just Giving page and everything's set up. Right, it's a roller coaster, as you can tell, physically and emotionally and everything. But it's a massive, massive learning curve, this as well. And I learned 3 big things. Health. You can do nothing without it. And now I'm really sensitive to what goes on inside. If there's something wrong, I'm down at doctors like that. It saved my life in 2007. Belief. That was more about the book. Everybody, all those in the know said, no, you can't, you won't, it won't work, there's no market. I'm sorry, there is. And I took this as a mission, and it kind of taught me that if you believe in something strongly enough, never, never, never give up. You'll amaze yourself with what you can achieve. And the last one is simple, really. Life. You've only got one, live it. Thank you.